Okay, welcome back, BaconBits episode. Who knows what number this is? We are waiting for Professor, who said he would be late, and Gaming and Pandas account will join in, I guess, shortly. And Daddy Warpig is here on time. In fact, he was early, which I like. That will be a note in your file, Warpig, on that one.
Okay.
We're gonna I gotta go ahead and give you some updates on some stuff we talked about last week, since it seems like we touched on a lot last week that news stories anyway that just kind of spilled right over into the week. They've just kept growing. We started off with the Colin Kaepernick story, and then everyone we talked about that, and then everyone saw the Denver player Brandon Marshall, linebacker for Denver, kneeling during the anthem on Thursday night, which was the opening night of the NFL. He immediately lost two sponsors for doing that, and then this nonsense again carried over into Sunday when again Kaepernick, joined by a teammate, that was Monday night, did that, and Sunday four Dolphins players did the same thing. They took a kneel. In fact, it was a little more glaring when they did it. They were kneeling right behind an Iraqi war veteran holding the corner of an enormous flag, and they just stayed on their knees and did their little bit. And a couple of the Rams players did the Black Power thing, the fists in the air. So that story continues to grow. NFL numbers, by the way, for the weekend down, ratings down across the board. Thursday night ratings down. This is year to year. Sunday ratings down every game, including Sunday night. Monday night ratings down. So I'm not going to conjecture and say that that's definitely why they're down, but to my knowledge, it's the first time that they've lost year to year ratings in quite a long time. So I have to think it has something to do with it. I'd like to think it has something to do with it anyway. Just one more update too, because I find this ironic. The Rams players who joined the protests have done this before. They're not strangers to it. They did the hands up, don't shoot crap a couple of years ago with the Mike Brown thing, and came out of the tunnel with their hands up, perpetuating that myth. But I think one thing that no one seems to remember, and this is rather ironic, Warpig, you'll love this one. Not that it's funny, because it's actually kind of tragic, but the second Rams player out of the tunnel, the hands up, don't shoot, was a wide receiver, Stedman Bailey. Shortly after that, he was shot in the head twice in a drive-by shooting. That he didn't die, but he'll never play football again. And that was shortly after their statement that the cops are the bad guys and have targets on the black community. He gets shot by a black man twice in the head in a case of apparent mistaken identity in a drive-by shooting.
Voting for Trump.
And there's Professor.
It's true. Hey, what's up, guys?
What's going on, Professor? How are you?
Good. Glad BaconBits is on today. But who's the guest? Who's the guest speaker or whatever?
We're gonna have Gaming and Pandas.
Okay. Where is he?
I don't know. We're waiting. He's a little late, I guess. I like the hat, Professor. Is this your new webcam?
No, this is the old one. Here's the new one. Let me switch it.
All right, let's see. Oh, it's sharp. I like it.
Is it clearer?
It's pretty clear, yeah.
It's sharper?
And
all right. Okay, that's my review.
What kind of webcam?
It's the Logitech. Let's see, Logitech C930E.
Loping has joined the call.
All right.
How are you?
This is the webcam. This is the default.
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Good. Professor was just going to review his new webcam. He's got his "Make America Great Again" hat on, which
that was the review.
I feel a little bad, Loping, because normally he wears the Odd Job bowler hat when he comes on. So I think you're kind of missing out there. So, Professor, you missed it. I just recapped a little bit some of the NFL news from the week with the Colin Kaepernick thing. I don't know if you had anything to add to it, but I assume that you heard it all. And Loping, I don't know if you're a football guy or not.
No, sorry.
No. Okay, so I guess that's the end of that recap. But that's the Professor. I'll just real quick. I'll catch up. What I did say that was important was that year to year NFL ratings were, for the first time that I can find, down across the board. Thursday night ratings down, Sunday night ratings down, Monday night ratings down. They're all down. So I don't know if it has anything to do with the Kaepernick nonsense, the Black Lives Matter protests, but I mean, I'd like to think it does. But just wanted to throw that out there. There it is, the Odd Job Bowler hat. Man, do I love that hat.
Okay. Just have to throw it out there.
I love it. It's great.
Thanks.
So the other thing we talked about, I'm just gonna Loping, just so you know, I'm just following up on a few topics that we touched on last week, just because there's been some news on them, and then after that we'll move on to new stuff. We'll have some fun. The second thing we talked about last week was Hillary's health, and we didn't get into it as much. And we did get into it like a little bit with her personalized ambulance that she drives around in, and we all agreed that we thought she was sick. But then, of course, you know, she passes out at the 9/11 memorial Sunday in 80-degree heat with low humidity. The odd thing, of course, about the story is that she's been hacking and coughing for weeks now, and Sunday morning before she passes out, a Clinton aide tells the press that she has allergies. Then when she does pass out, a Clinton aide tells the press that she's suffering from dehydration. And then after she passes out, a Clinton aide tells the press that she's been diagnosed with pneumonia, and that happened on Friday. So the excuses for her coughing on Sunday morning don't really jive with the fact that they knew she had pneumonia on Friday afternoon. So clearly she's either lying or someone's lying or for some bizarre reason covering things up. Since that time, I took a little deeper dive into some of her history because I knew there was other events. And I'll just give you Warpig, because you were on this too. You were on this earlier than I was, I think, the sick Hillary thing. I'll just give you a little timeline real quick. In 1998, Hillary collapses, says it's heat-related, dehydrated. Turns out that she has blood clots. 2005, Hillary collapses in Buffalo, New York, giving a speech. Sorry, that's 2002. 2002, she collapses in Buffalo, giving a speech, claims dehydration and heat-related illness. 2005, she passes out again, breaks her elbow, says she has a concussion. 2012, obviously, she falls again, hits her head, suffers yet another concussion, and then, of course, we saw what happened yesterday. In the meantime, also, there's you know, in the email leak, there was her aide saying that she's often confused, that she needs many naps. So clearly there's a pattern here, right, Warpig, or are we just looking for something?
No, she's sick. She's very, very ill. She's been ill for a while. And I saw a chart of how many days she's taken off in August. She's taken most of August off because of her health. She's definitely sick. She always has her doctor, her personal doctor, close to her. She's just ill. And I'm not even saying that to be mean. I mean, here's the thing. You look at all the presidents. Someone pointed out this to me when I was very, very young, and it's always true. You look at a picture of a guy when he goes into office as president, when he comes out, he ages like 20 or 30 years when he's in office. And it's true of Obama. It's true of Bush. It was true of Ronald Reagan. It was true of every single person who's ever been president. It just puts a ton of strain on you. It puts a ton of strain on your health. You're going all the time. You have tons of decisions to make. And a person who is already this sick going in will kill them. It will literally put too much strain on their health for them to live long. I'm not saying I welcome that. I'm just saying it's a stone cold fact. She is simply too sick to do the job as president. And her friends and family who are not, they need to stage an intervention and say, look, I know you're power mad, but you're not going to last long enough to enjoy whatever it is you think you're going to be getting out of it.
Yeah, I mean, I've known a lot of people, obviously, in my life, and I've never known anyone who has passed out 6 different times from what they call dehydration. So, in fact, I've only known a handful of people, and that's when I was a kid playing sports, which, you know, you kind of expect a little bit of that. So, clearly that's her go-to answer when something goes wrong with her, and obviously now that they've changed it to pneumonia, that it's just not going to stick anymore. So, okay, those are the 2 updates. Yep, go ahead.
They were saying that this is, a highly contagious pneumonia that was going around. All the staff was catching it. Absolutely everybody was catching the pneumonia. And then just today, a statement from a doctor came out that's saying, oh, no, it wasn't contagious pneumonia. It was only in one tiny lobe of her lung. It was just absolutely non-contagious. You're like, they're spinning so many lies so fast.
They can't keep track of them. I know. They
can't keep track of all their lies. They've
stepped on themselves a few times with this thing. I still think Professor F gave her the bird flu.
Yeah, I did.
That's discrimination.
It's funny that Daddy Warpig called it a long time ago. They're both sick.
Yeah, he called it a long time ago. Yep. Low Ping, just so you know, if my voice drops in and out here, I'm trying. Actually, this is for everybody. It's happened to me last week and several other times, so I've ditched Safari this week, and I'm going to try and run this on Chrome and see if things go any smoother. So if anybody hears an issue or there's a problem, give me a shout and let me know, and I'll switch back to Safari. But for now, it seems to be running a lot smoother than it does in Safari. So I'm just going to stick.
We have a few people in the chat: Bradford, Nora, Scrump Monkey. Like Nora,
they're in the chat. See, I didn't load the chat up because every time I load the chat up, I crash this thing. So I tried not to do it. So, Low Ping, what do you got what do you want to talk about today? I invited you on. You know what happened is I invited you on a couple of weeks ago because you were tweeting about something that I found interesting, and then you couldn't make that week, and I didn't do a show last week, and now I forgot what I wanted to talk about. I assume it was probably the con leaks, right? Is that when I initially?
I don't know. I guess probably. I'm not inside your head, dude.
You're lucky. Lucky you. I looked at. I saw the article earlier today from on Heat Street, and it looks like maybe this is a couple of days old, but there's been another round of con chat leaks. Is that right?
It was the Trello chat, their work board, basically, about how just collating information about opposition folk and basically saying collaborating and gathering together all the quote wrong things that people have been saying and doing, and it's pretty much the professional part of con, like the actual functional part of con, which further bumps up against their little claim a while ago. They said the initial con leak was just the Skype chat. I believe it was a Skype chat, and it's got a handful of people in it. It's got Zoe Quinn, Lifshitz, Ian Miles Chung, who, as we know, came over to the other side, and once he realized how terrible these people are. And you've got Izzy Galvez in there too, which he had his own little shall we say fun times recently with the whole Zack Attack thing, with him trying to figure out who Mombot is in real life and put their identity out there. So I guess they still had that in mind when they found his name in there, and they're like, no, he's not a part of con. Well, here's the actual functional part of con, and he's the person with has the second highest number of submissions on the con submission document. So it's kind of stepping on your own words there.
I see that they had dossiers on several people in the Gamergate movement, including Finding Young Capitalists and looks like the journalist Dave Pacman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was just. I'm just in absolute awe at the sheer amount of script writing and script sharing that was going on in there, because that Trello was where they refined their little message, and this is how they got pretty much everybody on the same script, because this is all back in end of 2014, beginning of 2015. So basically everything that you see put down in the Trello and everything that they said there basically propagated into articles online. So right. You also had people in their little Trello docs. The big ones were Mike Cernovich, Roguestar, and Chobit Coin were the main people they discussed in there. And look at them. You got a white guy, a Filipino guy, and a trans woman are the people they apparently dislike the most, and they want to claim that Gamergate isn't diverse. And it's just incredible reading through the entire thing. They're just amazingly similar to the threads on KIA and the early Gamergate threads you'd see 4chan and then later 8chan. I get that there's only so much difference a thread can have when it's dumping stuff to use for, evidence purposes and debates and all that. But at the same time, it strikes me as odd that at no point do they consider how similar their behavior, methods, and tactics are to the people that they just apparently despise so much.
Right, self-awareness level 0.
None whatsoever.
I was surprised to see Pac-Man on there, though, because I thought, I mean, I don't know much about the guy, to be honest. I never listened to his show, but if memory serves, he interviewed dudes like, he did Cluey and Chew, and I think even Wu that he interviewed. So I thought he was sort of an ally. I don't know why they'd have a dossier on him.
Well, the thing is, with those interviews, he actually did proper questions. They weren't softball. They were pretty straightforward questions. Especially with the Brianna Wu interview, she apparently just did not appreciate not getting softball questions. And so they tried to frame it as it was an ambush, it was an attack. How dare you attack me? I'm so vulnerable right now. How dare you ask me questions? And he's just standing there like, wait, what? And so people start flinging things at him. Oh, he's a neo-Nazi, white supremacist. And this is David Pac-Man's like really, really pinko. So he's standing there going, guys, what the hell is going on here? And it's just pretty much it's just entirely a coincidence that anybody who didn't buy their story just happens to show up in these Trello logs. So the scary thing is just the thing for me is like I've had a few conversations with people who are like anti-Gamergate in the beginning, and like while we didn't agree on a lot, we could like maybe be a little civil, like our discussions as brief as they were. That was like far back in the past. Now I'll just mean to them all the time because they deserve it. But this kind of stuff makes me wonder if even knowing everything, I don't know how to say this. I wonder if like even knowing everything I know about them now, what would happen if like people met them in real life and like started talking to them? Like what would happen? Would you be able to give them like a chance, benefit of the doubt? Would they even deserve it? Because like the scary thing about Zoe Quinn, most of all to me, is that everyone who's ever met her talks about how cool and wonderful and fun she is to talk with, but her behavior and history make it really, really clear that being anywhere close to her will very likely end in misery. Like, how do you react to that?
Yeah.
It's like a catch-22 of trying to give a person the benefit of the doubt when benefit of the doubt is what allowed that person to like ruin the lives of a whole bunch of people in the first place.
Right. Yeah, and I'm sure her persona offline and online is totally different. She's got she's a sneak attacker. She plays the victim card pretty well, and then she'll antagonize someone for a while, and then it's I'm a victim again. That's what a lot of these guys do. I'm a little surprised to see that since Rational Wiki has named Daddy Warpig the head of Gamergate, I was surprised. I was shocked not to see a dossier on you in there, Warpig. Were you shocked?
The Trello leaks, at least the two archives that I downloaded, the second one that was actually from Trello, is a series of screenshots or a series of PNG files, and so they're only a partial. They're only partial content from the Trello board. We don't have the entirety of the Trello board, and I have a feeling that they have, just based on the numbers, if you look at their numbering system for, okay, we have number 1, number 2, we have logs of what they show. And so I'm sure they had a lot more dossiers on a lot more people, because we have basically like 6 people, if I'm remembering correctly, that we actually have information that David
Pac-Man was like person number 85 on their dossier. So we know for sure at least there's 85 people listings on there.
We just haven't seen them.
And we don't know who they are. We only know who 6 of them are. We know, obviously Milo, Roguestar, Fart to Continue, Cho Bitcoin, Jenny Barrage, and a couple of others that have skipped my memory. But yeah.
And what exactly were they keeping track of on Trello?
Everything.
Like what information?
They were trying to track down absolutely everything they could about people. Like if they popped up if they were using their real name, they wanted to find out if you were on Facebook, your job, who you were, where you mentioned living. They were trying to pretty thoroughly dox people.
Yeah, for like David Pac-Man's entry, they even went so far as to look back at like his former job as an ink cartridge recycler spokesman. And they're like, he used to be a spokesman for reselling. No, what they call him, an ink cartridge recycler guru is what they called him in the Trello. So they went pretty deep because he said that was like 7 years ago.
These guys need a life, man.
Yeah, if you look at the actual timestamps and stuff, they're getting online and complaining about having to watch Gamergate, and it's like Christmas Eve and New Year's Day, and they're in these fucking logs and Skype chats being miserable together.
Losers.
Yeah, that's bad, man. Now, do you think the damage? I'll put this out to all of you. Do you think the damage is going to be enough to get Twitter to at least consider severing ties a little bit with the Override network?
No.
No, you don't think so?
Nah.
No, not with Jack in charge, man. Twitter's catering, and there's a lot of people at Twitter openly talking about the necessity for takeover, hostile or not. But unless that goes through, and I don't know how likely that is, no, not with Jack in charge. He will run this company into the ground. He will detonate this company before he allows any one of his SJW allies to be. He will allow himself to disassociate from any one of his SJW allies. He is a full-on, 100% committed ideological fanatic.
Is that what you think too, Loping?
Yeah, I mean, Jack's pretty much got himself in too deep to back out now. So the thing that all these people have in common, they seem to have this vicious allergy to admitting when they're wrong about something on the internet. Like, I just like to imagine they have like a little, I don't know, microcharge inside the palm of their hand that'll go off if they ever say that they're wrong about something. So that's why they just, they'll start with a lie, and then they'll get caught up with that lie, so they'll lie about lying, and then they'll lie about lying, and it just keeps digging deeper and deeper and deeper. And then they get to the point where they pretty much just lose track of what they were lying about, and they just don't care at that point, so they just keep going.
Now, there's more of these leaks. I would assume there's more of them out there, right? We've only seen a dribble so far.
Yeah, everything that we've seen so far has been just from end of 2014, beginning of 2015. Now, I'm not in the in group, I guess, for the primary leaks. I'm like secondary or tertiary or whatever, but I don't know why it's that time period specifically, or why it got cut off, or and insofar as we don't even know for sure who the leaker was. I mean, they've got people saying, "Oh, it's probably this person, probably that person," and that person really hasn't confirmed or denied it one way or the other. So we don't really know who or when or why. All we have is pretty much what's been presented to us so far. I know that's a really long way of saying we've got what we have is what we have, but that's pretty much it.
So we could be looking forward to some more exciting leaks then in the near future. You got to assume there's more out there. I'm hopefully maybe even Professor has a dossier. Who knows?
Yeah, not too small fried.
Well, I don't know.
Wait a minute. You're the only one.
At least
you're the only verified guy in the show.
I mean, you're looking at.
We know if Khan was the people who were automatically archiving all of those people's tweets back in 2014, 2015?
Oh, right.
It's still active. It's an automated script, and it's probably just one person. I don't know if it would have been Khan specifically. I don't doubt that they probably used it once, it got wind of it. But it was like really beginning. It was like November when it started archiving everybody, didn't it?
Yeah,
like you can go on. You go in archive. You type in your Twitter handle, and then you put an asterisk at the end, and basically everything. Like I know our account is for sure flagged on there. So it's
are you really?
weird. Yeah, we're flagged on there, which is weird because I don't know why someone would want to archive somebody wondering if 7 of 9 poops, because that's more power to them, I guess.
Now, I have to admit that I guess I don't pay close enough attention, but I didn't realize that there's 3 or 4 of you on running that account.
Yeah, right now there's about 3 of us. The number gets higher. It's for sure at least 3 people that uses it during the day. There's I mean, I don't. They're okay with me saying it. There's pretty good reason why I'm the only one that talks is because the other 2 aren't really that eloquent, and then the other 5 or 6 or however many people that still have the log information, they just pop in whenever they feel like it, and then dump their load and then leave.
Oh,
so
So are you the Voyager fan then? Is it you?
The Voyager fan? No, I'm not the Voyager fan. I'm into Star Trek, but I'm not the Voyager fan.
Because Professor's about to tell you. He's about to tell you that there's only one real Star Trek.
Yeah, there's only one real Star Trek. The old series.
Speaking of which, that was big news today. Also, I think it's climbing up the trends list now. Warpig and Professor, Star Trek Discovery has been postponed from January till it looks like at least May.
Is that right?
So there won't. Yeah. So no new series in January. Maybe they're trying to get their, what do they call it? Warpig, their diversity meter.
They must have seen the rough cut of the pilot and realized it's absolute shit. So they're into rewrites now and reshoots.
So that's going to be interesting. I don't know. And also, the other big TV news today that really disappointed me was that Netflix, which has been pissing me off lately anyway, because there's less and less to watch on there, has canceled Bloodline. So they're going to give it one more season to end it. But I thought it was a fantastic series. I'm really sad to see that go. I don't know. I'm probably the only one on here that watched it, but it's Kyle Chandler, who I really like. And apparently one of the reasons they ended it is because Florida has repealed their entertainment tax break that they had for television and movie shows that had filmed there. So it's gotten significantly more expensive to film in Florida than it was a year ago. So they've canceled it, and HBO may follow suit, or at least reroute where they film their series Ballers. In fact, because I think in the case of Ballers, I think it was 40 or 50 million bucks it was going to cost them in continued expenses to do another 2 or 3 seasons down there. And in TV terms, that's a lot of money. They don't. If it was a movie, they'd probably absorb it, but it's TV budgets. That's going to be a big deal. So I'm guessing that they'll probably go ahead to Canada where everyone else goes to film stuff because it's cost prohibitive here now. So that was the big news. Am I the only one that watched Bloodline? Is this me?
Which one is Bloodlines?
Which one is it?
Yeah.
It's the Netflix original series with the guy from Friday Night Lights, Kyle Chandler. It's a rich sort of family, but they're dysfunctional to the point of being sort of murderous, and they own like a resort in the Keys, in the Florida Keys.
Oh, yeah. That guy from Early Edition.
Yes, yeah, the guy. Oh, Early Edition. Oh, no one ever knows that show. That's awesome.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep, that's him. And yeah, it was a great series, man. It's a great. They did 2 great seasons, and they cut the episode order from 13 to 10, and they're gonna do one more and end it. So it's a really good series. I love that you saw Early Edition. No one ever knows what that is.
Yeah, Early Edition was the shit.
It was great. It was really great. And I have to say too, Professor, you never watch movies, Professor, but I got to say, Warpig, I finally saw, and betraying my age a little bit here, but I finally saw the Equalizer movie. And I used to like the show. I mean, I saw it in reruns. I'm not that old, but it was pretty good. I thought it was pretty good. Denzel Washington, great job.
I enjoyed it, yeah.
You like it?
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Any idea if there's going to be a follow-up or no?
I haven't heard anything about them making a follow-up, but they might.
I hope they do. Also, we had some I don't think it's news, but there was a bunch of screen caps of a writer from Mass Effect Andromeda out today, and if you haven't seen it, it's on my timeline. It's pretty brutal. The guy's clearly an SJW dickbag. And
the Manveer hair?
Yeah, that's right. So if you hadn't already decided to skip that game, that should definitely
well, to be fair, he's not I don't think he's a writer. I think he just does PR, which he's doing a bad job.
You think he does PR? Holy shit, Jesus. Well, if that's a guy doing public relations, then I don't want to know. Wow, that might be the worst job of public relations I've ever seen. That's pretty bad stuff. There was a crazy Warpig. Who was that crazy writer that was on Andromeda? We talked about her before. It was a girl, I think.
Oh, I'm sorry. He was a gameplay designer, not PR.
He's a designer? Okay.
Yeah, he doesn't do the writing. He just does the gameplay.
Okay, well, that makes a little more sense than PR, but still, it'll be interesting to see. And he's not the first one on that staff, on that game to say something crazy, SJW crazy on Twitter. So it'll be interesting to see if there's any effect on sales, which I doubt because there never is. But it would be nice if just once there was. So what are you playing?
Go
ahead.
CEO of BioWare has been fired has stuck somebody new in that job, so I don't know if they're going to dissolve the studio like they usually do, or if they're going to try and clean house. But I think it's pretty much too late to try and, at a certain point when the termites have eaten up most of your house, it's too late to try and exterminate them. You just have to, burn the thing down.
So I take it we're all gonna just skip Andromeda, right, Professor? Are we making a pact? Are we making a pact now?
I've been boycotting EA since 2012, so you're
Man,
you're way late to this game.
I'll tell you, man. I used to like them, but I initially started getting pissed off with the microtransactions, which got over the just more and more overt. Which I don't. I have to say I don't always hate them. I understand why they do it, and it's okay if you want to try to grab a. And I know that the free to play models had some impact on these little microtransactions becoming popular, but they did start to get, to me, a little in your face with Madden when you're trying to earn. Now you have to, instead of unlocking like a special team, you have to earn cards, and in that pack of cards there might be a throwback player, and you can make a little like legendary team of players. But lo and behold, if you want to buy some of those packets, you can. And I don't know. It got to the point where it felt like if I bought an EA game, they were going to send a representative down to sit next to me and go through my couch cushion for change. It just was a little. It just got old to me. I don't know. Am I the only one that got fed up with that or no?
They had that in Mass Effect 3 too. It was bullshit then.
Loping, you like?
Yeah,
them?
you and like half the gaming public are pretty much sick of EA at this point. It's like I've been not touching anything they do since 2012 as well with Mass Effect 3. Just their whole reaction to that whole thing was just absolutely beyond the pale. So I haven't touched anything from them since then, or new releases from them since then.
What's strange about that is the when the microtransaction sort of system fails, which ultimately people will get sick of it. It's just the nature of the beast. I ran into a professor of mine from my college days, and I was a marketing and advertising major. And this particular professor told me that if the microtransaction thing were to fail, he thought the next step in games making extra money would be in-game advertising, but in a more heavy-handed way than what we've seen now. For example, he thought there would be billboards for products, say, as you're driving through the city in Grand Theft Auto, but then through minor updates and patches, the billboards could change and rotate so that you'd see other ads, or maybe there'd be a soda bottle on the counter, but then in an update it could be a different brand of soda at a future day. So
they already had
yeah, they did that already for like Burnout Paradise.
And Crackdown had billboards like that.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah, and that was like what, 2007?
Yeah.
Huh. It'd be interesting to see if that turns into anything. If that turns into a major business model for any of these companies.
There's a game, Monkey Ball, and they advertised. They had in-game advertising for Chiquita Banana on the. It was like a kind of a racing game, but
yeah,
Chiquita
I mean,
was on the
I'm okay with
tracks.
product placement. To me, I'm okay with for the most part.
Yeah.
Unless it's something stupid like they did in that 2 James Bonds ago when they replaced his martinis with Heinekens or something. I don't like.
Here's something hilarious, by the way. I just bought the BioShock trilogy, the remake for the Xbox One, so I can play it natively. And in BioShock itself, they have developer commentary, but what it really is, it's just a series of interviews with the Dorito Pope interviewing Ken Levine. I thought that was awesome. I'm just reading it, and it's like it's an interviewer, and I'm like, wait a minute, is that Geoff Keighley? And right under it says Geoff Keighley. I'm like, oh my god, no, they didn't just do that. It's the Dorito Pope.
How is it? How's the trilogy on the one?
The graphics look good, other than the introduction to BioShock 2 looks terrible. Like I don't know if it's a pre-rendered cinematic or if it's an in-game cinematic, but it looked awful. I was about gouging my eyes out, but once the actual game got started, it looked great.
Really that bad, huh? You better not say that you bought the trilogy. There's that one guy online, I can't remember his name, who hates BioShock. In fact, I think he hates everything.
That's one of the best games ever.
He's one of those guys. I mean, that everyone knows one of them, right? I mean, he follows me, I follow him, but his whole timeline is I hate this sucks, I hate this game, this sucks, this sucks. You know, it's just like
Well, I mean, if you hate everything, you can never be disappointed, just pleasantly surprised.
yeah, I guess right. That's good. That's a good attitude. Splinter Cell's the only thing I think that he doesn't hate. That's it.
I mean, be prepared that you're not going to be surprised if you've played BioShock before. They haven't changed anything. It's not a new game. They haven't added new chapters. There are not any new characters. There's no new plasmids. It's not a different game.
But the graphics are better, right, Daddy Warpig?
The graphics have been upgraded for the Xbox One, but I'm not sure that it's a massive graphics upgrade. It just looks like it belongs on the Xbox One. It doesn't look like a cutting-edge game. It's not going to make you sit there with your jaw dropped up and drool pouring down your chin. Okay?
It's just upscaled a little bit.
Yeah, it's upscaled enough that it looks like it belongs. It doesn't look out of place among your other games. It doesn't look like it's backwards compatible.
Okay, can you go back and forth? Because I remember, like, with Halo, they let you see what the...
Yeah, that was so cool with Halo. You could revert back to the original. Like, yeah, that was great.
No, they're not allowing you to do that. Halo, so far as I know, is the only game that had, on the Xbox that has allowed you to do that.
Okay.
That was great. I was addicted to doing that. What it used to look like, you know, that was great. I really liked that. That was a nice feature.
Still do that, by the way, with the Halo collection on Xbox One. You can still flip back to the original engine.
Oh,
Yeah, that's fantastic. I'm still playing. As soon as I'm going to try to do the Fallout DLC. I haven't done any of that. So what else has we got here, Loping? You must have another topic you want to get out with here.
Well, not really. I mean, it's your show, dude. You just grab it and go.
Do you want to talk about Pepe?
Love it.
Oh, yeah. That racist frog?
It's fucking great. She had the worst fucking day of her campaign, having a viral video of her limp body being thrown into a van. So obviously the natural thing to do is to go to war against a cartoon frog. Naturally. Oh my god! Everything,
stunning, man.
And
She
it
put a
turns out, like the fucking Heat Street article that they sourced all their reefer madness bullshit that they put out there about it.
That's a great comparison.
They sourced it from a fucking Twitter troll. Like he woke up one day, saw Hillary Clinton reposted, and he was like, "What the fuck? I was joking."
That was the Daily Beast, not Heat Street.
Oh, Daily Beast, yeah.
Daily Beast. Heat Street is actually pretty good. Daily Beast is cancer.
The official
pneumonia.
The official frog of the alt-right. That's what that is.
Yeah.
So I gotta tell you this. I actually went out among the normies to find out what the hell was going on with this. I bothered to talk about it, and there's two groups of people that are really, really, absolutely, sternly convinced of this, and they're all deadly serious. They absolutely believe this, and when you try to tell them they're full of shit, and like point them to Know Your Meme videos and the Know Your Meme page on the wiki and say, look,
Yeah.
I know these people, okay? I know lots of Anons. I've been around these people for 2 years now, okay? I know what a rare Pepe is, okay? You're wrong. These are the people who will argue with you and try to post shit at you and tell you they know more about internet culture than you, okay? They're deadly serious. So I finally found out after talking with these idiots for an entire day. I had this entire day of my own tilting at windmills quest. I finally found out what happened. It's all /Poll's fault.
I knew it. I knew it had to be.
What they do?
Several months ago, a bunch of people, I don't know if they were something awful goons, or if it were as actually a bunch of /Poll people, or if it was just a bunch of alt-righters, they started spamming Cruz supporters. They started spamming National Review Online writers. They started spamming Jewish pundits who are leftists with /Poll Pepe Reich memes. Pepe standing there in Nazi uniforms, things like that.
Okay.
And you've seen those memes before. They're just a tiny fraction of the Pepe memes.
Right.
But they're spamming them over and over again, and they're, including them in tweets that say, "Go gas yourself, Jew," or whatever.
Right.
So all of these normies, the only time they've ever seen Pepe memes are when every so often, every 3 or 4 weeks or every couple of months, when they'll make a particularly, negative comment about Trump, all of a sudden they'll get 3 or 4, 10 trolls in their mentions spamming them with these anti-Semitic comments and a bunch of Nazi Pepe memes. And that's it. That's all they've ever seen Pepe from. And then this Commander Jace clone, and you remember Commander Jace, right?
Yeah.
He's that asshole who was trolling Brianna Wu, claiming he was going to hunt her down and kill her and stuff.
Oh, that
Totally just a troll. He had a car wreck, and he's like, I wrecked. And of course, all the normies report about this, and they take it seriously because they're credulous. They don't understand the internet at all.
Well, I mean, you have to be kind of stupid to begin with if you actually look at the Jace Connors video of him wrecking his car. Like, he starts, like, okay, the sci-fi thing that Brianna Wu was on about how the internet ruined her life, just the juxtaposition with her saying, I feared for my life, this guy was crazy, and then it immediately cuts to Jace Connors going, like, how do you take that seriously? You have to be stupid. Like, you have to be stupid.
So this
yourself that
Daily Beast writer Olivia Nuzzi. This is how much I had to go walking through Norman land, is I had to find out who wrote these damn articles. It also wasn't helped that some asshole on the Daily Stormer apparently also posted an article. This is a Nazi site. Okay, I'm not a neo-Nazi, so I'm kind of hampered. I don't read neo-Nazi sites, so I'm not hip to the whole neo-Nazi thing. I don't keep track of it. I'm not on any neo-Nazi for the glory of the white race, okay? I didn't realize that happened. You'll just have to excuse me for that. Apparently, they posted a site about a guide to the alt-right or something, a normie's guide to the alt-right, got posted on the Daily Stormer on Stormfront.
What is that, Vox Day's guide?
I don't know if they reposted Vox Day's guide or what happened with that, but it appeared on the Stormfront site. So it talked about Pepe in there. So all of a sudden, all these leftists, so you have the group of all the leftists who don't know shit about shit, who are blindly repeating everything they've heard because that's how the leftists operate. They just blindly repeat everything. And so they're saying they believe it. They don't really care. They're just blindly repeating what they've gotten told by the Daily Beast and other leftists. Then you have a group of right-wing Cruz supporters and Rubio supporters and other supporters of non-Trump candidates who are getting spammed by this all throughout 8 or 9 months of the campaign, who genuinely believe this is a neo-Nazi thing because that's all they've seen. They got spammed so much of it by, I'm not saying Slash Poll did it, but they were spamming Slash Poll memes. And normies don't know from sarcastic neo-Nazi posts. They don't know when you're being sarcastically neo-Nazi. That just doesn't register for normie brains. And I'm not saying they're stupid. I'm just saying they don't get Slash Poll. So you've got to realize when someone sees a frog in a Nazi uniform in a tweet that says, gas yourself, Jew, they're just going to assume you're actually literally a Nazi and that the frog is somehow part of you being a Nazi. They're just going to assume that's the case. You can't really blame them on that front. It's not like they've got a guide saying, look, Slash Poll is just, they're full of crap, okay? They do this stuff just to be offensive, and maybe they believe like 1% of it, and maybe there's a bunch of assholes who believe like 80% of it. We don't really know. Nobody can really tell because they're kind of insane, and we just let them do their own thing on their own board.
Like, there's a little comic edit out there that it's pretty pretty appropriate. It's like they've got these Klansmen out in the middle of nowhere, and they're around the tree, and one of them's like, "Where's Pole?" And then he's like, "Gone. He went to go pee or something." And all the Klansmen have like the different 4chan board identifiers on their forehead. There's international. There's K, the weapons board. There's Co, the comic board. There's T for TV, the television board. And he's like, I like Pole and everything, but you ever notice all he talks about is hating black people? And then K is like, isn't that the point? He goes, yeah, but all the time? I don't know if he's doing it just to impress us, but it's all, I hate people. I hate blacks. I hate blacks. It's like, all I'm saying is at least the rest of us talk about other things. He's like, yeah. He's like, sure. The other day, one of the other boards and I were talking about, particle physics and how planetary politics may develop. And then Pole pops up. He goes, hey, fellas, boy, do I sure hate black people. And the international goes, see what I mean?
So then you have a bunch of people who saw Trump supporters tweeting it, and they just assumed that because Trump supporters are tweeting it, it had to be racist. And because the people who are left of the Never Trump movement right now are really hardcore, don't like Trump, they're not going to listen to you because this is just more proof of that Trump supporters are racist, so they're not going to learn any more about internet culture because they don't want to.
It's like the X-Files poster, the I Want to Believe thing.
Yeah.
Except instead of UFO, there's a Pepe with an SS hat.
Speaking of that, I saw the worst attempt at sort of false flagging with the Trump supporters today that I think I've ever seen. Right? This guy posts. I tweeted this out earlier, and then it's a series of screen caps. And then he says, I tweeted this out earlier, look what happened. So the first screen cap is him tweeting, when it comes to the Beatles' White Album, I am a white supremacist. And then the second screen cap is a bunch of Trump supporters following him on the heels of that tweet. He says on the heels of that tweet. So because he used the words white supremacist, he got inundated with followers that were Trump fans, is what his assertion was. Maybe the weakest, I think, false flag. And half of them, I think, were shocked because they looked a little off. But maybe they're getting desperate.
Then the Southern Poverty Law Center picked up all this bullshit and has repeated it. And basically that's what happened. There was a bunch of trolls who trolled people who weren't Trump supporters, and a bunch of really credulous normies believed all the bullshit that was said about it. And I'm not saying there weren't actual real racists out there. There probably were, but still, Pepe is not a white supremacist meme, but they're not going to listen to you because the leftists are taking orders from the command ship, and the right-wingers who believe it hate Trump so much that they don't want to listen anyway.
Plus, I'm pretty sure the people in the command ship know it's not actually a white supremacist or racist thing, but they're like, still feigning victimhood, like, oh no, you guys, isn't this awful?
Yeah.
I saw this poor bastard. I felt so sorry for him. He's a liberal who knew a little bit about internet culture. Who this dumb son of a bitch, I felt so bad for him. He had the nerve to tweet out, guys, not everybody who uses Pepe is racist.
Uh-oh.
That's
You poor bastard.
He was flooded. Like, his mentions were filled with leftists piling on and calling him a racist and just attacking him. I'm just looking at him like, you poor bastard. I feel so sorry for you.
I mean, they're dumping all over it right now, and it wasn't long ago that all the rare Pepes got dumped on the internet. So you had people like, Snoop Dogg was tweeting out Pepes, Nicki Minaj was tweeting out Pepes, Katy Perry was tweeting out Pepes, and Katy Perry was singing at the DNC. So
BuzzFeed sells Pepe earrings and other crap.
Oh, they sell Nazi regalia.
Do they? I didn't know that.
Jesus Christ.
BuzzFeed.
She put a presidential candidate put a page on her website devoted to a cartoon frog.
Yeah.
I mean, just let it sink in, for Christ's sakes. How did this happen?
Someone drew the comparison earlier for the Kilroy. You guys know about Kilroy?
Yeah.
Kilroy was here. So Kilroy was just, a mimetic thing. Like, For people who don't know, Kilroy, it's just a little cartoon of a guy sticking his nose over a wall and looking, and it says Kilroy was here. And people would just, there's like a bunch of origin stories to it. It's like a ship inspector that did it. And anyway,
It was a pre-internet meme.
Meme. And it just started popping up at like in restaurants and restrooms. It was just, popping up everywhere. So
soldiers drew it on walls everywhere they went in World War II, all over the place.
Yeah. So what ended up happening was like, because it was so, popping up everywhere, it was sending the wrong messages to certain people. So you had people like, Adolf Hitler and Joseph Stalin were trying to find out who was putting up the Kilroys because they were thinking it was a sign of like, insurgency and stuff like that. So like they were literally up in arms trying to find dissidents posting a cartoon of a guy sticking his nose over a wall. So like, I'm just going to quote it directly here. It says, I'm not saying that the message, significance, or the audience of the two mimetic symbols is the same or equal, but it's interesting to note the type of leaders that try to control the narrative via intentional deception and misinformation will do. So I kind of find it funny that Hitler and Stalin declared war on a mimetic doodle, and now you've got Hillary Clinton that wants to declare war on a mimetic doodle too. Now I'm not, I'm just saying.
And also, don't forget that Styx screamed out Kilroy at the end of their song, Mr. Roboto. That's got to be a coded message.
If you want to trace this back as to how this got lodged at Hillary's website, it got lodged on Hillary's website because a bunch of Trump supporters started using Pepe. But the reason why Trump supporters started using Pepe is because Chan culture metastasized beyond 4chan. It spread to Twitter and all over the internet. And if you want to trace that back, you can trace that back to Moot selling out 4chan, and that gets traced back to Gamergate. So Gamergate caused Hillary Clinton to declare war
on a cartoon frog.
I shit you not, folks. This is Gamergate, the scandal. Not necessarily I
won't be completely happy until this comes up in the debates.
Somebody hollered at her during her alt-right speech and got frog marched out by the
frog
Service.
Oh, that's freaking awesome. I hope it comes up in a debate. That would be the best thing ever. By the way, Warpig, just as a quick, I'm not changing the topic. I just found it on my phone, so I'm going to shout it out. The writer that we were looking for that moved over to BioWare and is allegedly working on Andromeda was the one who gave that interview where said she was virtually raped in Grand Theft Auto.
Oh,
it's her. She's on board for the new Mass Effect. At least according to Reddit, that's where I just found.
And there was the writer of the novel was the crazy SJW lady who won a Hugo. It was the writer of the tie-in novel, Jemison.
Right.
Who was also the lady who called me a terrorist. So, she was one of the two Hugo winners who's called me personally a terrorist. So that's cool, too.
I was called a known harasser this week on Twitter. I don't even know where that came
from.
How did that even happen? I've never been called that before. I don't know. To my knowledge, I've never harassed anybody. I mean, except for Rachel Maddow, but she deserves it.
So yeah.
Yeah, something gets me about Mass Effect is it has a lot of wiggle room to actually do social justice-y type topics without going full social justice. Because, the thing is, though, BioWare, ever since... oh, crap, what are their names?
The two original founders, the doctors?
Yeah, the two original founders. The Musica, I think. I don't know how to pronounce it. Anyway, ever since they left, the writing quality for BioWare has just nosedived. So instead of having subtle commentary on race relations, with using aliens, it's like ham-fisted, jam their fist in your face. Hey, do you get it?
Yeah.
We're talking about black people.
Yeah.
You get it?
That's
do you
it.
Get it? Do you get no? Do you get it? Do you get it? Hold on. I don't think you get it. Let me do some other stuff here. Do you get it now? Like there's no subtlety, no nuance. They wanna signal that virtue extra bright so everybody can see how wonderful they are. Like you had that shit. I mean, you had the same topics for like, I know you talked about it earlier, like for Star Trek. Like they joke about it's going to be like, oh, trans captain who's missing 4 legs and stuff like that. But like Star Trek always had like diversity topics, like from the beginning. They just had the good graces of actually having good writers. So they had writers who knew how to approach these things with like subtlety and nuance. They had like they're talking about like, oh, that they're going to talk about gender identity. Well, they already had an episode about that. They had an episode of Next Generation where Commander Riker accidentally seduces an alien that comes from a species where they don't have genders anymore. They're just the one gender. And then she said, that Commander Riker made her feel like a lady. So she wanted to be a lady, and the society was like, no, you can't be a lady. And then you had stuff in Deep Space Nine where it was, hardcore race relations. That entire thing was all about race relations on a space mall. So the entirety of like, I just they don't have an excuse to not be able to do these things, well, other than a lack of talent.
Right, a lack of talent, a lack of subtlety. It's what you said is dead on. Star Trek did it better. They did it first. I mean, Professor, I think, and Warpig and I talked about that with Nick Cole about 3-4 weeks ago. And I think we said basically the same things. You're entirely agreeable. Who remembers? You remember? Lil Ping, you never heard this show before, admit it. Did you?
Okay.
Where'd he go? I said you never heard this show before, did you? No, you. Have you ever listened to this show before?
Mm-mm.
No, I didn't think so.
Oh, yeah. they had like, they're doing it for Watch Dogs too for some reason. Like they're trying to have a big diversity push in like a series that no one really wanted to even be a series in the first place. Like it just reads like, yeah, wow, we need to make games more diverse, and this is the perfect game to do that in. And it's more like, yeah, I guess we could do it here. I guess we can't really make it worse. I mean, Mass Effect is a series that works as a game to push diversity because you're using, alien races as a metaphor, like I just said. But Watch Dogs, it's like a sandbox game about hacking and shooting stuff, and all people really want to do in games like that is hack things and shoot things and blow things up.
All right.
Yeah, because you saw their
Professor
little lady hacker thing is like a rotund, short-haired lady.
Oh, really? I didn't see
Yeah,
it.
it's really tragic.
I didn't like it enough to want to really go back to it, I don't think. I thought it was okay. Watch Dogs.
I mean,
I wasn't like,
that's just the thing. It's just okay. Like they announced a sequel for it, and they're like, "Oh, why?"
Yeah. Well, the run up to it was I saw one of the interviews with one of the devs, and they was like, "Well, we painstakingly recreated Chicago, and it's this massive city, this massive beautiful city, and we got every detail right." And then you play the game. There's no Soldier Field. First of all, it's been there since like 1902. It's just it didn't. I don't know. It felt like it was a good effort, but it was incomplete.
Yeah, the other thing for like, I don't know if you saw any of the gameplay footage for Watch Dogs, was they have basically the story to it is that the hacktivist group is taking place during like a turbulent election season. So they've got a candidate in there that's running, that they're sabotaging, that's totally not Donald Trump. And
oh, really?
They're getting their orders to like to go and like fuck with his campaign, and they haven't revealed who the other candidate is, but I'm guessing it's totally not Hillary Clinton. So I'm thinking the great twist that would make Watch Dogs 2 redeemable would be that, oh, it turns out there's it's the actual other people telling them to go fuck with their campaign as a means to win the election, and she's just as awful. And so they have to come back in a third act and fuck with their campaign too.
They still have time to put Pepe in there if they want. He could appear in the game as graffiti or something. It'd be awesome.
It'll probably be like on a box of cereal or something. Just in the background somewhere. Because I know that they did it what game did it just now? Deus Ex did that Sonic and Knuckles video game cartridge, and they put it in the background somewhere.
I haven't played that yet. Is it good? Are you playing it?
No, I haven't played it yet. I really like the first Deus Ex, and I really want to play the second one, but I ended up having to buy the game for somebody else because I lost a bet. So I'm having to replenish my funds before I can get it for myself. Either that or get it on sale. But I've heard nothing but good things. There've been like some shortcomings for the game, but for the most part, it sounds forgivable and workable.
Yeah, I definitely want to get my hands on it, I think. Warpig, did you play it? You didn't play it?
I stopped about a third of the way into Deus Ex because Nuka World came out, and I've been playing that.
Oh, I see. And Professor doesn't play anything that's not titled Dark Souls.
No, I did play. So. I played the tutorial level, so I got
you got it?
Yeah. And I guess the tutorial level, you stopped some helicopter.
Yeah, you're
what it was. But then it got to his apartment, and I didn't feel like I could tell this was a big time waster. So I put it aside until Thanksgiving.
You put it aside until Dark Souls 4 comes out?
Yeah, right.
Here's a little update. The Daily Caller posted an entire story about how Olivia Nuzzi of the Daily Beast got trolled about the Pepe. They pretty much take apart her whole entire story and show how she got taken in by these two trolls. So she comes out of it looking pretty silly.
That's pretty good. I want to send me that link, Warpig. I'm going to look that up. I'm going to look it up later.
Sure. It's I will post it in the chat right now.
You know, I thought it was interesting. Earlier today, CNN has a story, MSNBC has a story that there's a new poll that that Trump is up 4 points in Ohio, and crashed the poll. And there's the whole reason, naturally a host of reasons why the poll must be inaccurate. It can't be right. There's no way he can be up in Ohio. And the story below that is Hillary Clinton advisors announced the opening of 6 new outreach centers in Ohio. So I'm going, well, you guys don't think these two things are related? You don't think there's a reason why she's doing that? And then 2 hours later, the CNN poll drops, and guess what it shows? Trump's up 5 points in Ohio, 4 points in Florida. So, and that's a CNN poll. So they're trying. I mean, how many times they try to spin it? And that might have been the worst spin I've ever seen. At least separate the headlines by a couple of stories if you're going to go with that.
Yeah.
I thought you'd be happy, Professor. I saw your Make America Great hat again today.
Yeah.
There's always that one fucking asshole who comes into the fucking thing and thumbs downs it every time. No matter if I get 30 views or I've had 600, I think 650. There's always one guy with the thumbs down. There's always that one guy. It's that liberal guy. I bet you anything. A little dick. All right. Well, I guess we've done our hour, so we're probably going to push it off. But don't forget, if you want to send me your cancer, that's baconbits6000@gmail.com. By the way, I usually get either a couple of complaints or sometimes I get a decent show email or whatever. But Warpig, I got a lot. I actually got a decent amount of emails from the Kaepernick show. And only one of them called me a fucking racist jerk off. The rest of them, they enjoyed it. So, mail, but I got a pretty good amount from the Kaepernick show. Your comments,
yeah. You should listen to this. Yeah. One of the Houston leaders of Black Lives Matter got mugged and is now demanding more police.
Of course. Good luck.
Karma.
For that 911 call. Yeah, we're busy. We're busy. Professor, why are you so quiet today? What's going on with you?
Eric Bowling asked me to run some stats on cash and in, so I've been hacking while you guys were talking.
Oh, I see. So you get verified now. Oh, Eric Bowling asked me. You're big time me. Is that what you're saying? No. You're big leaguing me. No, I've been big leagued by the professor. What the fuck? I'm sorry I gave you that.
I'll be more talkative next week.
I should have never let you put that hat on. You've been uppity ever since.
Oh man.
Hey, Lil Ping, thanks for coming on. You know, I swear we're
Yeah, it's
usually a little
great.
more upbeat than this. I don't know, I felt a little off, pretty tired, and I was in Buffalo all last week, and anytime I spend more than a couple hours in Western New York, it kind of takes a piece of my soul. There's just nothing out there. It is just awful. I was there for 5 days, and it's just been a hell of a week. It's been a hell of a week, so I was tired. But usually we have a lot more laughs normally, so I feel like I caught you on a bad week. You would have had more fun, I swear.
No, that's fine. I had my own little fun, regardless.
All right. Well, listen, baconbit6000@gmail.com if you want to get me, baconbitshow.com if you want to read any of the older articles or any. I got to get some newer articles. Professor was going to write some for me, but he didn't bother.
Oh yeah, I have to do that.
Jesus Christ. And also next week is
Ralph.
we got Ralph next week, live from Folsom. I'm going to call it live from Folsom County Jail, and we'll get into some stuff there. So maybe, I don't know. I'm not sure. And then the week after that, I really don't have anybody, so I'll get Warpig working on that. He usually provides me with some good guests. Actually, Warpig, I meant to tell you, I did download that book. I texted you asking you for book recommendations. I did download it. I didn't start reading it yet, but I'll maybe next week I'll have some comments on it.
Monster Hunter International.
I don't have too many. Yeah, I think that's it. So I'll give that a read and see what I think. Unlike Professor, when I get recommendations, I actually act on them. I actually read them. Hey, Lo Ping, are you going to go watch Bloodline now? Just out of curiosity?
No, I've already watched most of it with my SO, so it's not really my bag. I just watched it just to spend time with them.
Oh, it's not your bag. Okay. All right. Well, I didn't. Well, fine then. What about what about the Star Trek debate? You want to come back? Why don't you have the Voyager guy come back? We'll have him and Professor go at it. He says original series is the only real Star Trek. He didn't like Deep Space Nine because it was Star Trek without the Trek, because it didn't go anywhere. As you said, it was a mall in space, and then he didn't like Voyager. So
yeah, but it had like the best character writing. Like those B storylines with the other characters just gave you those comfy moments where you could actually watch the characters develop.
I really liked the captain on DS9. I thought he was fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I have to give you that.
Plus, it helps that Avery Brooks is like insane, so that adds to some of the creative process.
Yeah, I guess so. And you know what though? The chick from Voyager too is insane in real life. Neelix is. Why am I blanking on these names? I'm just too tired.
Oh, Kess?
Yes, Kess.
Yeah, she went to jail for like flashing elementary school kids or something like that.
Yeah. I can't stand it when I'm watching the show, and I
just saying, nobody in Deep Space Nine went to jail for flashing elementary school.
That's true. That's absolutely true. All right, boys. Well, thank you very much for joining us, and we will see you all next week with Ralph and maybe Nora. I have no idea, but and then after that, it's on Warpig to get me a guest. That's the way it is. All right.
Okay, guys.
Thank you. Later.
All right.